and Butch McNally, a volunteer with ASUG as well as an employee at Eastman. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Glad to be
Welcome.
here.
Thank you, Gina.
Now, we're talking about volunteers today. We're talking about value of ASUG membership, and I thought no better than to have the two of you here. Keith, you're a relatively new ASUG board member. It's been your first year in term. Butch, you have been volunteering for ASUG for years. I know you personally, and I appreciate your dedication. And I thought it would be helpful for people to understand why, Keith, as an executive at Eastman, why you support your employees being members of ASUG, as well as going as far as Butch has, being a volunteer.
Sure. You know, we've been going down the SAP journey for many years. And if we didn't get real tangible value from our membership in ASUG, we wouldn't do it. And you know, the value that we get is multifaceted. You know, volunteers like Butch have opportunities to network with people that they would routinely never get a chance to interact with. They get a chance to lead groups, they get a chance to develop their leadership skills. And when they come back to Eastman, they're better leaders at Eastman, because in my view, there's no better place to develop leadership skills than in a volunteer organization, because you're leading through influence, right? So we get tremendous value from employee development. We also get value from the fact that we just learn how to do things better, how to get new ideas, how to maybe not repeat some of the mistakes of others, or just learn how to do something brand new. So we get tremendous value from our ASUG membership.
That's great. And Butch, you've been a volunteer, remind me please, how many years have you volunteered for ASUG?
Probably, well, since 2004,
Okay.
active. I've
Okay.
been involved since back in the 90s.
And tell me, why did you first volunteer for ASUG? Was it support from your manager, or did you take it upon yourself and say, I need to do this?
Probably more from an education standpoint. You know, you can go to classes, SAP or other vendor classes, and obtain training that way, but after attending a few ASUGs, I realized quickly that your value that you get goes up exponentially if you volunteer in a fashion as a leader of one of the groups in some special interest group, or a group leader or community facilitator. So education was probably the primary driver, but I learned real quickly that it's much more than that. It's education, it's influence. You have opportunities to influence SAP and vendors as well with things that you're struggling with back home, and obtain ideas and give them ideas as well. But probably the most important I've found over the years is the networking aspect of it, and it's the building of relationships and developing those relationships, and you're able to make contacts with people that you wouldn't ordinarily be able to make contact with, like Keith said, and even bring them back to your installation to help you out. And it's just a tremendous value, perhaps, you know, the biggest value that I've had in my career, I think.
That's fabulous. And you know, you talk about networking, it's one of the pillars that ASUG has, and I wonder, Keith, as an executive, do you have an expectation of your employees, whether they're participating in an ASUG webcast or chapter meeting, or they're as a volunteer? What is your ask of them to bring back to the organization? Is it just training? Is it the networking? What are you looking for?
We want them to bring back ideas. I mean, the networks are great, the personal networks are great, but we want them to contribute to the group, bring something that they bring uniquely into the group, but also be cognizant of bringing back and sharing what they've learned with their peers. Everyone doesn't get the opportunity to participate in ASUG, obviously. So we invest in specific volunteers. Butch is a great example. And we ask them to bring back and share internally what they've learned. And when Butch talks about networking as being a great opportunity, he didn't stop that networking when he came back to Eastman. He became Mr. ASUG at Eastman, if you have that, and he would network strongly internally. If we were hitting a lean time maybe, and we're looking maybe to scale back our participation a little bit, I could always count on that meeting from Butch, making sure that ASUG value prop was front and center in my thinking. So he was an advocate for ASUG like it's hard to imagine. And
you know, I think that's something to be said about having a badge of honor. You are the go-to person, is that fair to say, within Eastman to some degree? You have that ASUG badge, they know that you have the access, the content, the resources?
There's several go-to people at Eastman, but from an ASUG standpoint, yeah, probably so. And like he said, we've tried to get others involved as well from Eastman, and and we try to share. We always would have a thing that, okay, you're going to ASUG or you're going to one of the other conferences, bring back a nugget. We called it a little nugget of information that we were really after, like single sign-on, how do you do that? Like extranet implementations, how do you do that? And so we could get that nugget, in fact, many nuggets of good information by attending ASUG, but even more so as being a volunteer leader, I think.
That's great.
It goes up exponentially what you can do when you're a leader.
Last year, Eastman was one of the ASUG Impact Award winners. Was it last year, correct? And
I think it was 2 years
might
ago.
have been 2 years ago. And I wonder if you can share how being an ASUG member led you to apply for the Impact Award and the value you brought. Maybe share a little bit about your experience.
You know, I think this was the first Impact Award actually, and we didn't actually apply for the award. You know, I think some of the leadership within ASUG look back at the level of contribution that we've had basically since the early 90s with folks like Butch, and just chose to recognize us as the inaugural winner of the Influence Award, I think it was. So we're really honored to have that. It's something that we didn't expect, but we're proud to have it.
Oh, that's great. Now, I've been involved in the ASUG community for many years, and I'm sure you've heard this as well, Butch, that sometimes within an organization, management may not understand or appreciate the value of their employees taking time out, often personal time, to support ASUG. What would you tell a peer at the executive level about why they need to support someone like Butch volunteering and being a part of ASUG?
It's really an easy sell. If you step back and you take a look at the investment that you've made in SAP, it is not a small investment, and the value that you can get for your business is tremendous if you are willing to invest in the people that are really charged with making SAP work in your organization. ASUG gives you a way to do that. It gives you a way to network with people that maybe have similar problems, or maybe are thinking about something a little differently than the way you're thinking about it. And it also gives you the ability to step back, take a big picture view of where you're going in your own personal career, and it helps develop the person. And we are about people, right? I mean, our businesses are success or failures based on the quality of the people and how well we develop people. And ASUG has just been a tremendous avenue for growing people for us.
You know, and you talk about development, and no better timing than the activities we've had here at the ASUG Leadership 2.0 programs. We had a luncheon panel today. We had a breakout session. I know you were there, Butch. I wonder if you can share a little bit about how your volunteer role has led to your professional or personal development. I know that we are building a program to support skills to extend that experience, but I wonder if you might share a little bit about volunteering and your effect on leadership.
Definitely. Coming out of school and going to work at Eastman many years ago, too many to mention here, I was technically oriented, highly technically oriented, masters in computer science and so forth, and did DB2 with several like Keith. In fact, he was my mentor for DB2 early on, and IMS, and then eventually R2 and R3. And I didn't have time or the inclination to hone the other skills, the softer skills, if you will. And ASUG has given me a chance to do that. I would probably back then have been petrified to be doing this right now, but I'm having fun.
That's great.
And that's one of the really good things about ASUG and being a leader is you not only can share your technical skills and learn from other people in that area, but you can also develop your soft skills too as well.
That's great. Well, I appreciate your time today. Hope you have an enjoyable rest of the conference.
Thank you.
Keith, Butch, thank you for seeing me.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Keith, for allowing me to serve in this capacity.
Glad to. You've done great.
I appreciate it.
On a side note, we know that Butch will be retiring soon, and we're just grateful for your volunteer service to ASUG.
Semi-retired.
Semi-retired. Well, thank you. Appreciate you joining us today in ASUG News. Visit asugnews.com for more information, access to our blogs, and replays of our presentations.
Thanks.